There was a time when nearly every month we would see a new MMO release, and while the titles have slowed to a trickle, the hot takes and misconceptions around them have not. The Riot MMO is no different, and today I want to go over the top 6 misconceptions I see from players and even content creators talking about the game. We'll go over everything from payment models to how far along the game is in development. As always, my name is Spun. I make funny little videos about Riot's future MMO project, gaming, and MMOs in general. If you're a copium-fueled MMO fiend or even just interested in the future Riot MMO titles, it would mean the world to me if you could smash that subscribe button and leave a comment down below letting me know how you feel about the future of MMOs. And with all that shilling out of the way, let's get right into the real reason you are all here, the Riot MMO. This is one that really kind of pisses me off. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I see it all the time. The game was started in 2020, so it will be done in 2026. MMOs take 6 years to make, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. The MMO genre is small, and the sample size is still so tiny. There is no standard for an MMO. They have such a broad sense of scope, teams, and overall systems that even comparing one to the next is impossible. An MMO with a huge scope and 50 people may take 10 plus years, while a more simple game with 200 devs can be knocked out in 3 years. Right now, we have no idea what the scope of the Riot MMO is going to be, but what we do know is that Riot is willing to invest the money into building the best team possible and make it a success. At the end of the day, though, we're all just guessing when the release will be and just assuming 6 years because you heard another MMO took that long. It's kind of just an idiotic thing to say out loud. And keep in mind, that's coming from a guy who literally makes video upon video that's just fueled with copium and speculation. So I get wanting to figure out when the game's going to come out, but we're just guessing, honestly. Necrit. Your videos are great. Your chairs are small, but your takes are sometimes questionable. Now, personally, when Necrit released his first Riot MMO related video, I saw a massive spike in my views and subscribers. But with this, I also saw a huge influx of people saying that the game was going to be out soon or in the next year or two because the world is completely done. An MMORPG is no simple task to create. In fact, at least in my opinion, an MMO isn't even a singular game, but instead a combination of many different games. PvP, PvE, dungeons, raids, fishing, chat, exploration, and that's just off the top of my head. Star Wars: The Old Republic, for example, an MMO that was based in one of the most iconic worlds that has been worked on for over 50 years, and I think you could probably say that that world is complete too, took 5 years and $200 million in development. So to say that the Riot MMO is done because the world is ready is a long stretch. The story and lore is probably only about 5% of the entirety of what it will take to build the game, and saying that it is done, it's just inaccurate. While it is true that the Riot MMO is filled to the brim with Blizzard vets, the Riot MMO team has stated many times, while they could simply make a WoW clone and drop it into the Runeterra universe, that is not their intention at all. I feel that a lot of MMO players have their ideas and expectations colored deeply by influences from existing titles, and only think of how they want that model adjusted. The MMO of tomorrow is not a WoW clone or a WoW killer. It's something new entirely. Ghostcrawler goes on to reiterate this point by saying, "We definitely will innovate in a lot of, hopefully, exciting ways. What we don't want to do is make a super experimental game, though, that shatters genres but appeals to only a handful of players." He even brought the idea of not making a WoW clone up in his most recent interview with Canon, where he had said,
"Hey, MMOs don't all have to look the same. Like it's maybe it's a looter shooter, maybe it's a something else, but I think that kind of shows you that MMOs don't have to just be again, I'm picking my words really carefully here, but you don't have to be a WoW clone to be an MMO. How about that?"
This whole idea stems from this one damning tweet from Ghostcrawler where he says, "There is no guarantee this game will ship. We are optimistic, but you just never know until it does." Now, for those of you that have not worked in the gaming industry, which I will assume is probably about 99.9% of you, games are really, really hard to make. No game is guaranteed to ever release, and this becomes especially true when you start to factor in the complexities of making an MMORPG. Oftentimes, games are not ready to release or are just simply terrible, and they are forced to come out by the stockholders and other people invested in the companies. And this is what Greg is communicating to us. He went into greater detail in a recent interview where he stated that one of the nice things about Riot is that we're not going to run out of money. With the global success of League of Legends bankrolling the company, Street says he's not facing a publisher that's like, "You gotta ship by Christmas or we're canceled." Instead, he has to contend with quality. Riot will cancel this game if the game isn't good enough. They're not gonna cancel the game because it gets too expensive. And even further beyond this, he went on to state on Twitter that things are going super well. "I am just being honest that Riot standards are super high. We won't ship a disappointing game." I think the moral of this story here is that Riot is gonna make an MMO that is as good as possible. And if it sucks, we're not going to play it. Really a win-win situation for us players. That all said, Greg and myself personally both have faith in this stacked team to provide us and the player base with the most amazing and solid MMO gaming experience ever. Tell me you've been hurt by other MMOs without telling me you've been hurt by other MMOs. Let's face it, modern MMORPGs have been incredibly disrespectful to their player bases and, more importantly, their wallets. Today, in MMO gaming, free-to-play is pretty much the de facto main payment model, and the last two mainstays, WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, are really just holding on by a thread to their sub fees. Free-to-play has many benefits, one being the fact that you can have a massive audience in your game, and to be honest, the first M in MMO is massive. The problem with free-to-play oftentimes is the pay-to-win that comes along with it. You can take a look at Lost Ark or, heaven forbid, even Diablo Immortal, two of the more recent free-to-play games, and know that while free-to-play is the future of MMO gaming, if put into the wrong, corrupt hands of Bezos or Kotick, you are essentially building problems that players need to solve by busting out their credit cards. Now, this has never historically been the case with Riot, though, and while they have never built, or more importantly, monetized an MMO, I think we can look at their other games and glean a bit of information off of their monetization theories. To this day, Riot has only focused on purely cosmetic and have never, aside from a short-lived Rune debacle, inserted any forms of pay-to-win into their games. Now, pay-to-win is nearly just an MMO problem, so to say that they will not do it based off of their other games may be a little too simple. I think what we can take, though, is this quote from Ghostcrawler, again from Cannon's interview, where he explicitly tackles the topic.
We're not going to do pay to win. We're not going to do pay to power. I'm pretty confident saying that.
At the end of the day, no amount of speculation, tweet dissection, or even educated guessing is going to give us any form of concrete info regarding the new MMO title. We can get a good idea about the team and their theories regarding development and what they are looking to produce, but until they explicitly come out and tell us anything, it's all just a guessing game. That said, if you do enjoy this speculation or theory crafting about the future of the Riot MMO, make sure you're subscribed. If you want the concrete evidence-based stuff, I'm also going to get that to you. We'll have news updates and everything regarding the Riot MMO coming in the near future, so make sure you're subscribed, like the video if you've made it this far, join the Discord, Twitter, wherever, Twitch, I don't even remember, I'm just way too many places, so make sure you follow me on all those places. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.